On Newsnight tonight, President Mahama hit with fresh suit over allegations of unlawful handling and suspension of Chief Justice Getu Tokono. We speak to the Old Tafo MP who wants the Supreme Court to reinstate the suspended Chief Justice. And the Ghana Bar Association is tonight breaking a silence over the issue, asking all parties involved to let the rule of law prevail. We'll hear from them. Plus, we will delve into that very controversial judicial service travel policy that is dividing opinions.
You can go on unlimited official travels with your spouse and child, but you can't go on a vacation on 2 occasions with these same people. How absurd.
Oh, vacation. What has that got to do with the state coffers? If you are sending your husband and your daughter on a vacation for holiday, why should we pay them per diem? And you, as a famester, you are defending this.
And we'll have the latest on the Financial Intelligence Centre's decision to freeze the accounts of Akunta Mining and the personal account of his owner, Andrew Boesiako. You know him as Chairman Wontumi. And we have the very latest also on the action they've taken on Macdan Group of Companies. You want to stay with us for that and more, plus in business.
World Bank analysis shows cedi has depreciated by about 4% to $1 so far this year.
And in sports, Ghana's boys and girls teams through to the semi-finals of the CAF African Schools Championships.
And later, CEO of Zoom Lion Ghana blames the company's poor sanitation service delivery on government's consistent delayed payments as he fends off push by district assemblies to take over sanitation management.
We normally even pre-finance the payment. For the past 2 years, payment have not been coming. And our financial partners who give us money, if they don't see payment coming, they also stop giving us the money. So the reality and the truth must be told.
I want to hear from you tonight. 055-1111-997. Details after this. And you're also live, your Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. And to that developing story around the removal of the Chief Justice and a process that has commenced now, with the committee now beginning to hear the evidence against her, we are now learning of a memo from the Deputy Judicial Secretary to the Registrars of High Courts, Courts of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. And the subject is assignments of for newly filed cases or newly filed applications, and this is dated the 23rd of April 2025. It says, I have been directed by the acting Honorable Chief Justice, and that is Justice Bafoboni, who is now acting following the suspension of Gertrude Tokono, to inform you that all newly filed cases and applications must be brought to his attention for assignments of courts and impaneling of judges where there are more than one court, and for the fixing of dates for hearing. Now, take note that this directive supersedes all previous directives until further notice. Please accept the compliments of the Acting Honourable Chief Justice. And this is coming shortly after we learnt of a fresh suit that has been now filed, directed at the President over his decision to suspend Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, MPP MP for Old Tafo, Vincent Ekwasafwa, who has already been in court to stop the removal process, has now filed this fresh suit asking the Supreme Court to reinstate the suspended Chief Justice. And we now know the acting Chief Justice has written this memo asking that every other case before all the courts now be brought to his attention for impaneling. Now, President Mahama, in consultation with the Council of State, we know suspended the Chief Justice on Tuesday in accordance with the Constitution after the establishment of a prima facie case arising from 3 separate petitions submitted against her. Now, the suspension has since sparked widespread public debate with the opposition New Patriotic Party criticizing the move as an attack on the judiciary. Before we hear from the Old Tafo MP, let's engage member of our Legal Affairs Desk, Kweku Asante, who joins us via Zoom right now. And Kweku, a lot is happening today and still around this particular subject. First, what are the reliefs being sought by the MP? Kweku, can you hear me? Okay, we'll try and get Kweku's attention pretty quickly and also fix a connection to him here on News Night. We'll also be speaking to the MP who has filed the case, and if he's just joining us, this memo that has surfaced tonight regarding cases at the courts, and it's on the orders of the acting Chief Justice, who has directed that informing all members of the judicial service, but also registrars, to be very specific, that applications must now be brought to his attention for assignments of courts and impaneling of judges where there are more than one court, and for the fixing of dates for hearing. And this particular case that is we now know is a subject of a suit that Kosafwa has brought will also be dealt with. We'll speak to Kosafwa, who is joining us also right now. Do we have a Kosafwa on the line? Vincent, can you hear me? Okay, we'll get into that pretty shortly. And as you know, the suit that has been filed today has several reliefs that Kosafwa is seeking. One of which is an attempt to stop the proceedings from going ahead because of the allegations that the process itself is flawed constitutionally. One of the key bases of this is as one, an order restraining any step or action from being purportedly taken as part of the processes for the removal of the Chief Justice under Article 146 or in any manner until the hearing and final determination of the instant action. An order suspending the operation of the warrant for suspension of the Chief Justice purportedly issued by the President under Article 146(10) of the Constitution 1992 until the hearing and final determination of the instant action, and any further orders at this honorable court may seem necessary. Well, today we know that there'll be more controversy on this particular subject, particularly this subject of the travel policy, really at the heart of the petition against the Chief Justice. Former MPP MP for 2nd D, Andre Japamesa, says the Judicial Service's travel policy is absurd after the suspended Chief Justice was cited for paying per diems and buying plane tickets for her husband and daughter for holidays. Now, Getu Tokolu, who has been suspended, insists she did no wrong and is backed by former Energy Minister Andre Japamesa. He says it does not make sense that the state will fund family members to accompany the Chief Justice on official travels, but make no such arrangement for holidays. He was speaking on the Super Morning Show.
Paragraph A9 provides that, quote, the Chief Justice shall undertake unlimited official travels with either his or her spouse or other person of his or her choice in a year, fully funded by the Judicial Service.
But the National Communications Office of the NDC and CEO of Gold Board, Sami Jemfi, criticized the response of the Chief Justice to the allegations, which he has since been leaked. You may have seen that. We brought the details of that to you yesterday. He says it is unsatisfactory, the responses that she gave in her response to the petition.
It says where the Chief Justice embarks on a personal or private foreign travel, he or she shall be accompanied by the security alone. The security alone, if it is a private trip. If it is an official trip, she can go with two other persons of her choosing, and it can be a spouse and a child. Now, let's look at the response of the Chief Justice. He says, I opted to utilize the authorization in paragraph 9 and paragraph 10 of the travel policy. What does paragraph 9 and paragraph 10 of the travel policy say? It is the privileges she has to travel with two people of her choosing on official travels. Now, she says that she utilized paragraph 9 and paragraph 10 of the travel policy to travel with my spouse and my daughter during my 2 holidays. The 2 holidays were those holidays official trips or vacation. What has that got to do with the state office? If you are sending your husband and your daughter on a vacation for holidays, why should we pay them per diem? And you, a Japanese, you are defending this.
Well, Andre Japamesa believes there wasn't enough basis to establish a prima facie case against the Chief Justice.
At first sight, on the first appearance, on the face of it, so far as can be judged from the first disclosure, presumably, a litigating party is said to have a prima facie case when the evidence in his favor is sufficiently strong for his opponent to be called on to answer. If the evidence that has been adduced is not disproved, then it is deemed to be true.
Your point here was that the responses given by the CJ convince you, and so to you, there can't possibly be a prima facie case.
Absolutely. And so it confirmed the position that the NPP, everybody else apart from the NDC.
If the president had not suspended her, justice administration could have suffered, in the sense that the chief justice, who has administrative oversight over the entire judiciary and, for that matter, the administration of justice, will obviously be busy mounting a defense for herself at or before the committee which has been set up by the president to investigate this matter. Number two, the Chief Justice herself, in all fairness to her, needs all the time she can get to prepare adequately to defend this matter. Because we all get a sense that she intends to fight this matter to its logical conclusion. And she must be given the time, okay, and the attention she needs to be able to do that. And then finally, one of the reasons why people are asked to step aside pending the outcome of the investigations is so that they do not take advantage of their positions of privilege to interfere with the investigations.
Let's look at this travel policy a bit closer. I want to bring in Kweku Asante. He joins me now on phone. Kweku, we have a copy now. What does it say exactly? Because the Chief Justice references that to justify why she traveled with the spouse and the daughter. And the allegation is that she spent $30,000, 480,000 cedis equivalent there, plus more than 200,000 just to facilitate the particular trip. What do we know as far as that particular travel policy is concerned? What does he say?
The travel policy deals with official travels by the Chief Justice, private travels by the Chief Justice, as well as other justices of the Superior Court. As regards official travels of the Chief Justice, the Chief Justice is allowed to be accompanied by the security as well as other persons of the choosing of the Chief Justice in this matter. And it specifically says, for instance, that the Chief Justice shall undertake unlimited official travels with either his or her spouse or other person of his choice in a year, fully funded by the Judicial Service. That is an official travel. But if this travel is a personal travel by the Chief Justice, for instance, you look at Part B of this travel policy, it says that where the Chief Justice embarks on a personal or private foreign travel, he or she shall be accompanied by the security alone. The distinction is that if the Chief Justice is traveling on official responsibilities, which she has the opportunity to travel in an unlimited fashion, she's allowed to travel with the security and any other one person of her choosing, and that person will be taken care of by the state and will be paid half the per diem of the Chief Justice. However, if the travel is a personal travel, Section B2 of this travel policy says that personal or private foreign travel, the Chief Justice can only be accompanied by a security alone. And that is how it ends with regards to the Chief Justice Evans.
Let's do a quick refresher. What is the allegation against her again as far as this is concerned?
Evans, the allegation as contained in a petition sent by one Daniel Ofori is to the effect that the Chief Justice did travel out of the country on two different trips, one with the husband and the next with the daughter, and it was a private holiday travel. And the Chief Justice spent in excess of 260,000 Ghana cedis of public funds to pay for the foreign travels of both the husband, Mr. Francis Kofi Tokunu, and the daughter, Miss Edem Tokunu. And not only did that, but also paid $30,000 as per diem, as per diem, I should say, for the husband and the daughter on these travels. With regards to this allegation, the Chief Justice response that is sent to the President, which we have received a copy, is to the effect that the Chief Justice elected to substitute the official travel allowance for this private travel. And so there's no denial that it was indeed a holiday, but she says that she was, according to the Judicial Service, she was allowed to actually substitute this and use the official travel arrangement to go. And that is why she did use that option and paid from state funds per diems and plane tickets for the daughter and the husband on that private trip to the U.S. and Arusha, Tanzania.
Kuku, thank you very much. And you can find more on this on myjoyonline.com and across our many social media platforms. But I want to bring in right now the Ghana Bar Association's spokesperson who is joining us right now on the line. Xavier Kuja speaks for the association. Xavier, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. And you're waiting, and from what I understand, that you want all sides to be circumspect in this particular matter. What really is the concern for you?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. The concern is that it appears we, as a people, are losing the import of the constitutional process that is ongoing. The recent developments we've seen is that political actors, including some lawyers, unfortunately, have drawn some conclusions. Our understanding is that it's a process that is ongoing. Let us all be patient and restrain ourselves and let the process follow through to the conclusion, so that if a formal report on the conclusion of the process is put in the public domain, then everybody will be at liberty to have their own discussions in mind and even decide to take further steps as allowed under our laws.
Is it your wish that we don't discuss at all?
We can do education, but some people would agree with me that some conclusions have been drawn. Meanwhile, the committee to even determine the petition on its merit, the petitions on their merit, has just been set up. And they are supposed to do their work in camera. After that, the outcome will not be hidden from anybody. Once it's submitted to the president is under obligation to let us know the outcome. Then those who are aggrieved, maybe some we are led, there might have been some procedural impropriety, can go to court because the committee's decision is subject to the jurisdiction of the court.
I read your statement and you say that it is, quote, it is expected that persons who play even the minutest role in the process will bear in mind Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution on the exercise of discretion and will act in a manner that safeguards and enhances the independence and image of the judiciary. When you talk about persons who play a minutest role, who do you have in mind?
We have everybody else in mind, everybody else involved, in the sense that the discussions going on, we are all human, can influence or otherwise of the process, and that's what we don't want. Let's allow the process to flow without all these comments and conclusions. I think the conclusions are premature because the process has not come to an end. And it's not as if the process that has been triggered in a vacuum. It's a constitutional process that has been triggered. That is why those who feel that even the initiation of the process itself, they have a challenge with it, are in court. So those who think that there are issues like that, they should wait. At the end of it all, you'll get to know what it is. Now, I don't know why people are even treating informal information relative to the petitions that have come to them, and they want to draw conclusions. As far as I am concerned, there has not been formal release of the petition and their content into the public domain. The only time I expect this to happen is after the 5-member committees work. That is when anybody else who says anything will be valid.
I mean, the position you're expressing is simply not practical. I mean, definitely, we've already seen parts of the petition now. We've put it out already. We put out the Chief Justice.
Is it formal?
Whether I formal or
not, as a lawyer, I wouldn't speak to that.
But of course, you're speaking as a lawyer, but this is a process that is unfolding on our behalf as the people of the great republic. And so if it's out there, of course, we deserve to know, we deserve to discuss it. People have a right to come to their own conclusions based on what they've seen.
If the framers of the Constitution had wanted it to be public, they would have even allowed it to be aired on television for us to see. But the Constitution says that the committee's work shall be done in camera. But it doesn't say that the outcome shall remain that way. Definitely the outcome will come. I don't see why we are trying to jump the gun.
The constitutional process is very clear, and you've made the point. The committee's work is in camera, and it is in camera, but the petition and the response is out there at least that brings a certain sunshine to all this, does it not? It is actually useful that we've seen all the petitions. We've also read the Chief Justice's response. So people actually get carried along the process, even if informally. There is some merit there.
Evan, what if it turns out that the committee has concluded this work and you've read through and realized that the petition you are dealing with now is not actually the petition that the committee has dealt with in camera? What would be how would you react?
Well, it is a reason why I've heard civil society advocates and governance advocates make the point that it's time to amend that clause and make this public.
But we haven't amended it, so we have to go by the law as it is now.
But it is the intention, the positive beneficial intention behind the suggestion that is actually playing out informally that yields the same benefit of transparency, even if it's.
Evan, the Constitution is a living organism. If upon implementation for a period, we think that we have a problem with it, it is good the president has even initiated, has put in place a committee to look at the Constitution again. But as it is today, that is what we have to do. The Constitution says that the proceedings shall be held in camera. That's why I pose the question. Would you be surprised, or what would be your reaction if at the end of the process, the petition that everybody is talking about now turns out not to be what has been put before the committee? How would you react? So as a lawyer, I will not dwell on what is not formally put in the public domain. I would wait. In any case, the doors will not be shut. The decision of the committee is subject to the decision of the court. And any citizen of Ghana, including the Chief Justice herself, can do that. And let us be mindful of the fact that the Chief Justice has just been suspended. It doesn't mean that she's no longer the Chief Justice. That conclusion has not been arrived at yet. We are just saying that step aside because of the circumstances of this process for us to get back to you as to what your position will be relative to the outcome of the committee's work.
You also say that it is your hope and belief that the, quote, actors involved in the whole process will have the time-tested tenets of the rule of law as their guiding principles and in its application follow the spirit of the law. I mean, this is stating the obvious. This committee is chaired by a Supreme Court Justice. Must the GBA feel the need to pull this out?
We feel the need to put it out because, as I mentioned earlier, it appears many people are losing focus of the constitutional process. But rather, the political angle is what is being discussed.
Yeah, but you're addressing the committee now.
And we think that I think that encouraging and entreating somebody to adhere to what he already knows is no offense. It's no offense at all.
But it can also be seen as
the two Supreme Court judges there. I know them personally. I know the substance they are made of.
Yeah, but that is why going public to say to them that you hope that they will follow the rule of law and the guiding principles. It's superfluous.
Evans, we never single them out. We said all actors, including the political actors who are showing sympathy. Just that they are acting as if they are the main people involved. The only politician involved in this whole process is the president. That's the only politician. And he himself is not acting as a politician, but he's acting as the president of Ghana. Because that is the designation given to him in the Constitution.
And finally, you say that the GBA shall carry out its mandate to defend, strengthen, and enhance confidence in the justice delivery system in Ghana. What's your main concern here when you make that point, that the outcome of this, either way, whether she is exonerated or she's actually removed, will leave the judiciary in tatters?
No, Evans, what we're saying is that once due process has been observed throughout the process, or the dealings of this issue, then there shouldn't be any issue. That is why I made a point that at the end of it all, there will be avenue for anybody who feels aggrieved to take the next step, especially to the court.
Thank you very much. That's Sabia Kuja there is the spokesperson for the Ghana Bar Association. I want to hear your thoughts on the position of the bar on this particular matter. Share with me at 05511119997, and I will share it with the rest of the world. Well, tonight we've also been learning an action taken by another state institution. The Financial Intelligence Center is the latest war against money laundering and its other irregularities in the financial sector. The center has frozen the bank account of Akonta Mining and its owner, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, and Chukwueze Ako. You know him as Chairman Wontumi. Pursuant to the Anti-Money Laundering Act, the Financial Intelligence Center, we now also know, has also written to mark down group of companies. My colleague Latif Idris is joining me right now with a bit more on this. I want to start with what we're learning tonight about the letter written to McDonald. What do we know?
Yeah, so this is a confidential letter we intercepted. It's from the Financial Intelligence Center, and it's confidential. So it's directed to the Managing Director, McDonald Group, Accra, and it reads, "Dear Sir, request for information." It says, intelligence received by the Financial Intelligence Center indicates that your outfit received and paid various sums of monies to several entities between January 2020 and December 2024. Pursuant to Section 36 and 37 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020 Act 1044, kindly furnish us with the following particulars. 1. All electronic fund transfers conducted by your outfit from January 1, 2020 and December 31, 2024. 2. Copies of checks issued to third parties during the aforementioned period. And then 3. The financial institutions used to make the payments in question. Kindly note that pursuant to Section 37(4) of Act 1044, a response within 7 days would be much appreciated. Yours faithfully. And then this is by Kojo Chum Boafo, the Executive Officer of the Financial Intelligence Center.
And what do we also know about this Akonta Mining part of the action taken by the FIC?
Yes, so now it's confirmed that the FIC has actually frozen the bank account of Akonta Mining and also the owner of Akonta Mining. That's his chairman, Wontumi. That's the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the opposition New Patriotic Party.
Okay, so some clarity there is important. As far as McDonald is concerned, they have not frozen the account. It's simply a letter written to them to provide information
regarding their bank accounts and some transactions
that they've done from 2020 to 2024.
Correct.
So that's the clarity there. But Akonta Mining, we're confirming that indeed they have frozen their accounts. And thankfully, we can speak to Andy Apiakubi. He's a member of the legal team for Akonta Mining. Thank you very much, Mr. Apiakubi, for your time here on Newsnight. If you can confirm that for me, that indeed your client's account has been frozen.
Yes, this morning I had information from my client that the account has been frozen, and we are expecting some of the processes for us to approve our petition in respect of the court. Once the president we must take the decision.
Sincere apologies there. Let's try and get a better connection to Andy Apiakubi. I'm struggling to hear what he's saying because of the connection to him isn't great. But if you're just joining us, he's just confirming tonight that indeed the Financial Intelligence Center, they are frozen the account of Akonta Mining. Akonta Mining belongs to the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, who is already embroiled in allegations of illegal mining that is a subject of a lot of questions by civil society. That we know it was also a subject of a petition that the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining had filed with the CID back under the previous administration, that they have complained since that nothing much has happened. There's been no significant movement on that particular subject since. He's now a subject of an FIC investigations, and his account, the account of Akonta Mining, has now been frozen. Hopefully we can get through to a better connection to Andy Apiakubi, who is lawyer. He's a member of the legal team for Akonta Mining, just to get clarity. We were speaking to him a short while ago, but the line wasn't great. I want to hear from you if you have any thoughts on the stories you've heard so far, the story around what we are now learning from the corridors of the judicial service tonight, where the acting Chief Justice is writing to the registrars on all court officers to direct all cases to him for impandling. And one of the cases that will immediately come before him is one that has been filed by MPP lawyer Kwasafua, who is seeking to stop. The process is currently underway to possibly remove the Chief Justice, including overturning the suspension of the Chief Justice. More on that on many social media platforms. Andy Apiakubi is back. Apologies to you. We had a terrible connection earlier, but you confirmed that this morning you got word from the FIC that your client's bank account have all been frozen, you were saying.
That's what I said.
Did he explain? Did they explain why they frozen the accounts?
No, they have not no communication whatsoever from any particular basic agency. He tells me that he got information from the bankers. So we are still waiting for the official communication to come from any of the agencies.
So to be clear, he wasn't written to directly. He got notifications from the bank account. So presumably, the FIC would have written to the banks to freeze the accounts.
Exactly.
But they did not write to him himself to alert
No,
him.
he has no such communication. So we are hoping that by good now we are waiting for the official communication.
As his advisors, I wonder what course of action you plan to take on this.
Well, we need to go to court to save our case and seek the court information so that this order will be resolved. So we are preparing to do.
So your position is that you may have to go to court to get a court to intervene on the matter?
We don't see any justification in this official action to freeze accounts of both Akuntamina, Mining, and Chairman. We don't see any justification there.
And again, for clarity, because of the terrible line we have, so the frozen accounts includes that of Akunta Mining itself and the personal accounts of Chairman Wontumi.
Exactly, that's what I have before.
I'm grateful. Thank you very much. And sincere apologies for the terrible connection to Andy Apiakubi there. But thankfully, he confirmed this for us. And he says that the cause of action could possibly be going to the courts. I want to bring in Tanko Zakaria Musa, is a private legal practitioner, joins us on the telephone line on this. Mr. Zakaria, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. So this particular subject of the Financial Intelligence Center freezing accounts and writing to individuals and companies to provide financial transactions over, say, this in the case of Magdan, a 4-year period. Many will say sounds like a fishing expedition. Are they allowed with the blank check to do as they please, as they've done in the case of both Akunta Mining and now we're learning Magdan?
Thank you very much, Mr. for having me. Yes, I think, the financial intelligence, you have to look at what their obligations are. And to the extent that they are source of transaction, they think that something that has to do with, money laundering, terrorism financing, or anything to do with criminal, enterprise going on. They have authority to look in. Of course, they would not tell us what they do as the thing, but they would first have to establish that really something has gone. Once they come to that social code, there's the authority put in their account. And I heard you came to my learned friend earlier on when he said that notified the bank that notified them. Yes. I mean, sometimes if you notify the person might probably as well, let's take settings to, change like the complexion of that account. Sometimes they would not. Rather, the notification, the order would be financial institution and action. But sometimes, because the financial institution, the fiduciary relationship line, they would notify you. If they take a comment that, for ABC, you may not have an account. And it's an institution that has certain powers. But judicial authority rests with the judiciary. So when they embark on some of these acts, and whoever is affected is satisfied their action, the person has the right to go to court and ask the court propriety or otherwise of their action. And at that time, the courts would invite for the center to come there and justify for that free opinion. If they are not able to provide sufficient basis for free, then of course, whoever has his account can get it.
Thank you very much. And again, the terrible connection to him. Tango Zakaria Musa is a private legal practitioner. I will be sharing your thoughts really shortly, and many of you have reached out already with thoughts on the stories you've heard so far from Top Story, with the standoff at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, or through to the ongoing process to evaluate and interrogate the evidence brought against the Chief Justice that may lead to her removal, and the memo authorized by the acting Chief Justice, Justice Bafo-Bonny, on all cases currently before the courts being submitted to him for impaneling. All that plus, indeed, the decision by the FIC to freeze the personal accounts of Chairman Wontumi and the account of his company, Kunta Mining, but also the letter they've written to McDan asking for further and better particulars around transactions that he may have made between 2020 and 2024. Let's do business now, and I'm joined in the studio by James. Hello, James.
Hi, Evans. Also coming up in business this evening, World Bank analysis shows cedi has depreciated by about 4% to $1 so far this year, and the International Monetary Fund expresses commitment to assist Ghana and other African countries hit by current global tariff war. Business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, Syntex tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. I am James Eshen. We settle for the details now. And the Ghana cedi has depreciated by about 4% to the US dollar so far in 2025. The World Bank in April 2025 revealed, the World Bank April 2025 Africa Pulse report has revealed this is one of the best performances in recent times.
In 2024, the cedi lost over 17% in value to the American greenback. In Africa, the CFA franc used by most Francophone West African countries is the best performing currency, appreciating by about 2.0% to the American dollar. According to the World Bank, the weakest performing currencies over the past year were the South Sudanese pound, the Ethiopian birr, and the Nigerian naira, with reductions in value that exceeded 40% in 2024. It continued that as financial conditions became less restrictive and the gains from foreign exchange market reforms began to materialize, some African currencies gradually started to strengthen. For instance, the Kenyan shilling appreciated 20% throughout 2024 and has remained relatively stable in 2025. On the other hand, the South African rand and currencies that are pegged to the rand have fluctuated slightly in 2024 and so far in 2025 around the values registered by the end of 2023.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, has assured that the fund stands ready to assist Ghana and other African countries hit by the global tariff war. She disclosed this during the press conference on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank spring meetings. George Yafe has the rest of the story.
Speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C., USA, the managing director of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, noted that the fund has the needed financial muscle to support any country when the request is made.
Always we would be there for our members. We are focusing on what we do best, policy advice, and when necessary by providing financial support.
The managing director of the IMF, however, noted that some countries in Africa, including Ghana, need to take some tough measures, including improving domestic mobilization to help complement efforts by the IMF.
Continue on a path of strengthening your fundamentals. There is still a lot that can be done on the fiscal side, and don't use any excuses around, it's difficult, we can't really go for more tax, because yes, you can.
She also highlighted the need for more intra-regional trade in these challenging times.
Remove the obstacles to it, that infrastructure obstacle to growth and trade.
The IMF managing director noted that even though she does not expect the current tariff war to badly hit all African countries, she is worried about the indirect impact most countries in the region.
And that was George Uriafe there with the report. To some other stories now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, Michael Abbey, has reiterated the fund's commitment to enhancing its operational efficiency. According to him, the initiative is aimed at scaling up support for small and medium-sized enterprises across the country. He made these remarks at the Ghana Venture Capital Conference and the launch of the fund's 20th anniversary impact report in Accra.
We are having conversations and in the process of establishing two funds into the future, and that is for us to support government of Ghana's programming initiative and specifically supporting government Ejumera program. And so we are looking at establishing what we call the Ejumera Fund, which may be looking at businesses that operate in four main areas: businesses that are into the tech space, businesses that may be women-owned or women-led, businesses that are into agri-tech.
And that was Michael Abbey, Chief Executive Officer of Venture Capital Trust Fund. Now, the Design and Technology Institute has organized a strategic stakeholder engagement aimed at identifying key challenges contributing to the persistent mismatch between graduate skills and industry demands, particularly within Ghana's technical and vocational education and training sector. Founder and Chief Executive of Design and Technology Institute, Constance Swanika, emphasized the urgent need to prioritize education as a foundational pillar in repositioning TVET as a driver of economic transformation.
We have a local content bill, but yet a lot of industries are bringing in foreign labor rightfully so, under the pretext that, I wouldn't even use the word pretext, with the complaint that the quality of graduates that are coming out are not fit for purpose. But industry also has a role to play when it comes to investment in education to ensure that our people are well transitioned into work with the sort of skill sets that industry is looking for. So this is really a call to action for industry to really understand that the job creation agenda is a bridge between academia and industry.
Constance Swanika is the founder and Chief Executive Officer of Design and Technology Institute. Now, Accra Marriott Hotel, one of the leading 5-star hotels in Ghana, is promising to offer patrons outstanding hospitality services as it marks its 7th year of operations in Ghana. Speaking at a soiree to mark the 7 years of excellence, General Manager Luciano Shelza outlined plans to make it Ghana's preferred hospitality facility while it expands its operations and contribute to the country's economy.
Opening a new hotel is already a challenge, but opening during that time, it was an extra challenge. But despite all the challenges, we turned them into opportunities. Definitely, as Mr. Bill Marriott, our honorary chairman, says, success is never final. We never settle. We always look for opportunity to do more and more, especially when it comes to our guests and our service provided to them. Our guest promise is wonderful hospitality always. So we always find ways to improve our guest journey, but also we want to improve the journey of our associates, our people. And being a big company here in Ghana, we really want to take care of the young talents and the young promising people here in Ghana and developing them, being part of this big company which will give them a big career opportunity in the world.
Luciano Shelza is the General Manager at Accra Marriott Hotel. And that's all for business on Newsnight with me, James Evans.
James, thank you very much. We can do sports now, and Kranting is here with the latest.
Let's go straight into the stories. And Ghana's boys and girls teams booked their spots in the semi-final of the ongoing CAF African Schools Championships. The girls team, the Black Damsels, picked up a 2-0 win over Benin in their second group game earlier today. The boys team, the Black Comets, also sealed a 1-0 victory over South Africa, with Ignatius Hagan scoring the only goal of the game. Head coach of the side, Kweku Danso, says he has his eyes set firmly on the trophy.
There is much improvement than our previous match. As I told earlier on, that I observed some things that need to be changed, and I intentionally did that. When you look at the squad, we changed almost all the squad, and then there is much improvement as compared to our previous. As for the ultimate, I've said it once and again that we are going to win the ultimate. That's our target, and we are working towards that. So we can assure you. I have my first team, and then those boys were in the first team. And this one, it was a strategy. We gave chance for those who haven't played to also come and exhibit their talent.
Now, the Ghana Olympic Committee will hold its elective congress on Saturday to select new leadership for the committee. The president of the Ghana Tennis Federation, Isaac Abuajidua, who is vying for the position of GOC treasurer, believes he should be given the nod due to his experience.
Being at GOC for the past 8 years. So first I came in as an executive board member, and then I was in as assistant treasurer, assisting Fred Achi, with Benun Mensah as the president. I was lucky to be nominated to work with the Paris team as a chef de mission, and had a lot of interaction with a lot of federations. My boss, Achi, has declared that he has no intentions of contesting again. I think that based on experience that I've acquired and worked with the federations, speaking to them, they thought that I'm best suited for that position as a GOC treasurer.
You're the president of the Ghana Tennis Federation, Isaac Abuajidua. Bring that into sports. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much, Granting. And you're still live, your news night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. A few of your messages now on our WhatsApp console. This one from Comrade Issa in Boko. He says, we urge you to reconsider your strike and prioritize patient care. The minister has provided explanations for his actions. Let's work together to find a solution that puts the well-being of your patients first. And you have one here from Fred. It says, did I hear the Chief Justice substituted her official travel for her vacation, and that was allowed by the Judicial Service? Question is that the norm for all staff of the Judicial Service? If you live in a glass house, don't throw stone, he says. Musa Abattoir says it's puzzling that some MPP-aligned lawyers believe the Chief Justice should stay in the office despite the case against her and the possibility, says, of bias and interference. As a layperson, it's hard to understand what legal reasoning supports such a position, especially with new petitions coming up. And Sami says, I think until the Auditor General report is out on the judicial and the Judicial Service, questioning the CJ's travel, I do not think it should be part of the removal petition. And finally, Kofi Siri says, why should the doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital sacrifice the lives of Ghanaians on the altar of an apology? Is a question he's asking the doctors there. Now, 3 months after a devastating fire ravaged the Kantamanto market, traders there are slowly recovering from the disaster. Business has officially resumed. However, concerns linger over the lack of basic amenities like fire extinguishers, access to water, and reliable electricity, which traders say are crucial for their safety and business sustainability. In the latest episode of our fire series, Sarah Mensah returned to the Kantamanto market and filed this report.
Traders at the Kantamanto market are rebuilding after a devastating fire, but concerns remain over basic amenities like fire extinguishers, water, and electricity. The traders say their safety and livelihoods are at risk due to poor lighting, lack of water, and unreliable electricity. They appeal for urgent action to ensure a safe working environment.
Fire service for say dachi BBC a ombenya nsuo di aye adwuma enso omunya hwe
they should bring water to the market to make it easier for fire service vehicles to quickly access water to extinguish fires in case of outbreak. We have space in the market, but our leaders have closed all the spaces.
Say bisa omo say fence ECG for the light beba, ECG for the light beba, 2.5 months.
We used to have fire extinguishers in the market before the incident, but we lost everything in the fire. So we don't have anything to help quench fire in case there's another fire outbreak. We have no space in the market in case a car wants to come in here. Market manager Educhum Atamenu assures traders that concerns are being addressed. He says fire extinguisher distribution has begun and 30 poles have been donated for market lights.
So if we're able to have a mechanized borehole in the market, if there should be any fire, at least the availability of water will be ready for them to use to stop the fires. Formerly we had fire extinguisher, but because the fire started at the last scale, they were not able to use it to stop the fire. As I talked with you, our foundation has provided us with 1,000 bottles of fire extinguishers.
So when are you going to distribute them?
Distribution has already started. They have finished with our part. Also have a collaboration with the electricity company, and they have come and they have done their search, expect the place and see that at least they will be able to provide them with about 30 poles. At least by next week, the All Foundation this thing project will start. They are wearing the whole market.
Market leaders deny allegations of planning to sell the market to All Foundation, a group assisting fire victims. The foundation's director of operations, Samuel Owusu-Setre, confirms they have no interest in buying the market.
At All Foundation, we are registered as a foundation, and under no circumstance will even government of Ghana be willing to even give us the land. It is never true. In fact, we can never buy the market.
The situation at Kantamanto Market remains a concern. Traders hope for swift action to address their safety and business needs.
And Sarah Mensah filed that report. Now, Chief Executive Officer of Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, Dr. Joseph Siai Japon, is tonight mounting a strong defense in the face of concerns by district assemblies that the company's sanitation services have been poor. Managers of the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies during a tour by Parliament's Committee on Sanitation and Water Resources complained about Zoom Lion's failure to deploy street sweepers and lift waste containers, a situation they say has led to the poor sanitation we currently see in their communities, raising the call for a termination of Zoom Lion's contract. Well, listen to the Director for Waste Management at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Engineer Solomon Noy.
If the responsibility for managing the waste solely lies on us as AMA or the assemblies, we will be held responsible and we know what to do when the situation arises.
But the CEO of Zoom Lion, Dr. Joseph Siai Japon, is defending the position of the company, blaming the situation on government for failing to release funds on time.
What we are saying is that the challenge is not from us. The challenge is beyond us. It's a means of why resources are not available. But for the work, we understand it and we have been working. I think you all could attest when they entered, they saw so many tricycles that we have, more than 2,500 warehouses. Trucks, we have about abundance, about 100 and other things up. But when you are working and people are littering, no a task force to ensure that this thing doesn't happen. Now, with people who are not working, the sweeper you don't see, they have not been paid for 2 years. And if you are being paid allowances and you are not being paid for 2 years, it's difficult for you to work. And so we have worked with them for past 17 years. We have consistently paid them and pre-finance. We normally even pre-finance the payment. But for the past 2 years, payment have not been coming. And our financial partners who give us money, if they don't see payment coming, they also stop give us the money. So the reality and the truth must be told. Look at the past 15 years of Zoom Lion's attitude and what is happening now. You could see the difference that it is not fault of us. It's fault beyond us. And the reality and the truth must be told.
And that there is the CEO of Zoom Lion, Dr. Joseph Siai Japon, and some news just coming in that one person has been shot dead in what eyewitnesses say is a clash between a group of military men and some youth of Yinahene in the Ashanti region. The 3 others have sustained injuries. You want to go on to myjoyonline.com and across our many social media platforms for the very latest on that developing story. Plus, our top story this hour: Acting Chief Justice Bafo Boni directs registrars at Superior Courts to report all new cases to him for judge and date assignment, and that will include that case that has just been filed by the MP for Old Tafo, who is seeking to stop the process to remove the Chief Justice, but also reinstate the Chief Justice who has been suspended. Enjoy the rest of your evening.